I'm Heather.
And I'm Desiree.
And you're listening to
the Perpetually Overdue Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Perpetually Overdue Podcast. My name is Heather.
And I'm Desiree.
And this week we are talking about art in crisis. It's kind of a double entendre in that it is art in general is in a bit of a crisis. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But also what art means in times of crisis, which I think we're definitely in that time. And we've been in that time since the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Desiree when we talked about this episode idea that I had seen a documentary or a video of somewhere in the past, I don't remember exactly when, that talked about the movie industry specifically during World War II and how art becomes so integral and so much more needed and so much more consumed in times of crisis, which makes complete sense because escapism.
Absolutely.
A lot of people need an escape, especially when the world around them feels like it is crumbling. And so this is a time, I think, in our history in this country where art is very important, not just for the potential messages that art can bring, like political messages, commentary on social issues, but just for that much needed escape sometimes of being able to check out and go into a world that is not falling apart. And so I wanted to talk about that specifically, but I also wanted to talk about the sort of shift that I feel like I'm seeing. Maybe not from everybody, but I definitely feel it within myself, and I've definitely seen it amongst other people on social media of what type of art they're now wanting to consume.
Okay.
And that has a lot to do with this sort of burnout on celebrities and seeing a lot of celebrities either stay quiet during this time or compromise the supposed morals and values that they have. And so people are not really wanting to engage anymore with their work because they're upset that they're going against, in this critical time, what this country stands for and what we stand for as human beings, the morality and the values that we have. Perfect example of that, something that we brought up in a previous episode, is the Sydney Sweeney ad for American Eagle and the backlash that she received for that, and people really not wanting to engage with her movies anymore or really see her anywhere. I mean, I have no desire.
Absolutely
I already didn't care for her.
Same. I wasn't the biggest, even just as an actress. Yeah, and I realized intuition was just knocking because I saw one of her last movies, the rom-com with the guy from Twisters, because I was bored one night on Netflix or something, and I was like, at the end of it. And so I was already kind of not, attracted to movies that she was doing anyway. But and I've mentioned this to you, it's just at this time, the celebrity burnout and exhaustion and just being over these people and just, I'm done. I'm tired. And at the end of the day, I'm at the point, because of things being so bad, that I will already put you at a place in my mind until you prove otherwise. Whereas before, I feel like we were the whole, it
was the opposite.
It was the opposite. I will give you the benefit of the doubt unless you prove me wrong. Then, now, especially with celebrities, we don't know these people. We don't really know anything about them to owe them any loyalty. I'm like, at the end of the day, y'all have to prove to me that you stand on the right side of history, because all of you are on the chopping block right now. I'm tired.
I love that. I agree with that because here's the thing. 10 years ago, there were a lot of celebrities that we engaged with. We've never been a part of the toxic fandom in that you can do no wrong. Anything you do, I'm going to back you up. I'm going to support you. I'm going to defend you.
As an adult. I had my NSYNC days, but I was 15 years old.
Oh, yeah. I was in middle school.
Yeah.
You will not ever catch me trying to defend anybody, especially somebody that I don't know, because that means then that I am in some sort of parasocial relationship, and I don't do parasocial relationships. Either I know you and I know you, or I don't. Now, there are celebrities that I joke about who I'm like, oh, I adore Pedro Pascal or Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves has definitely proven himself over the years to be a very generous and kind person. The same way that negative things come out about celebrities, a lot of positive things come out about him that he did not put out himself. Meaning somebody saw him give up his seat on the subway and they took a picture, they took a video kind of situation. But even with that minimal adoration I have for like, oh, he's a good person, which should be the default for everybody. But, you know, I digress. That I would not ever put it past anybody at this point for something outrageous to come out about anybody and for me to go, because I'm not with the cancel culture. I believe in accountability, not cancellation.
Yes.
And so recently, for example, with the Fantastic Four movie that came out, Pedro Pascal was very touchy-feely, which he's Hispanic, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that about Hispanic people. But with his co-star, who is married and pregnant, she played his wife in the movie. My thing is, like, these are two consenting adults. If she did not want to be touched, she also showed affection towards him.
Yes. And sorry.
Then, you know, like, that's a conversation for them to have amongst themselves. But then everybody was trying to cancel him because he was creepy.
And that pissed me off because I'm like, if you're going to go out of your way, take one image and do your damn research before you make context out of one image. Because there's also the fact that, like you said, one, he's Hispanic. It is very much in our culture to be affectionate. Two, they just spent months to a year filming together. They clearly have developed a rapport and a relationship where she is clearly comfortable and encouraging of it because he is someone who suffers with anxiety, high levels of anxiety, which has already been spoken about to extent for over a year now, which is why his co-stars have actually gone out of their way to affectionately support him physically during public events, which is what she did. When he tapped her once, she reached back to grab his hand and hold him because she knew he was struggling at that moment. So I'm like, y'all, that's the reach. That's the part where accountability versus cancel culture. Hold people accountable when they are wrong. The cancel culture is usually an extreme that has no proper context or research, and it becomes really asinine and ridiculous with no proper backing. And it almost feels like a tantrum being put on against people over things they don't understand or try to understand. And that's the part of cancel culture that irritates me so much.
Yeah, because a lot of cancel culture is we like to put them on a pedestal and then we like to see them fall off that pedestal. The aspect of it supposedly being creepy, that's one thing, because that might be how you feel about it.
Yeah.
But what matters is how the person he's interacting with feels about it, and whether they are comfortable or not, which a lot of the times with women, it's very evident on their faces and in their body language whether or not they're comfortable. One. Two, I've literally seen this man be cradled like a baby by Oscar Isaac, which is like his BFF. He is the same way with men as he is with women. This is not preferential. This is not like sexual.
Him being like a sleazy like guy towards women
only, and not, he's just as affectionate, maybe even more so with his male friends. And so again, not to get caught up on the Pedro Pascal thing, but just to sort of say that I believe in accountability. And I do think that there are certain lines that should never be crossed. Like, obviously, if it comes out that you are sexually harassing people, if you are using your authority and your privilege and your power to manipulate people, to coerce people into doing things that they don't want to do, there's a hard line. You know, that's when I'm all about cancel culture, is when stuff like that comes out. The thing that I don't like about cancel culture is that there never seems to be any possibility for redemption. And I think in certain cases, if people really take the time to do the inner work and they change their behavior, which I do believe is possible, though rare, then people should be given the opportunity to prove that. Now, if this is a repeat offender and they apologize and they never change, like, yes, go ahead, cancel them forever. And you know what? You get to decide where you want to put your money. Exactly. If you don't want to go and support that person, don't support them. But then you don't need to make it your entire mission to make sure that everybody around you does not support that person too, because that is their personal choice about who they want to support and what they want to do. All that to say, when cancel culture really started to become a thing and we started seeing some people that we thought were super kind, super loving people, super good people, and hearing the most terrible things about them, the reality check that I got was that I don't know these people. And who they portray themselves to be is not always necessarily who they are, and also that they have the power and the influence to be able to cover up bad behavior. Because my biggest question when I found out about some of these celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres and like, I didn't know anything about Harvey Weinstein, but I did have this thought with him too of like, how did this person get away with this for so long and nobody spoke up and nobody defended anybody or stepped in and helped these women or these people that were being treated so terribly? And it just made me realize Hollywood is a club and they all look out for each other and protect each other, and that when things come out, it's a deliberate choice that people are making, and they're putting their name on the line and possibly even their careers on the line to do what is right. And it's rare, honestly. And it just takes one person to come out and say, this is what happened to me, for then a ton of people to be like, okay, now I feel empowered to tell my story. And then you come to find out who these people really are. So I'm with you that I used to think a certain way about people like that, and then when I would find out things, I'd be disappointed. Now I'm like, I don't think you can keep your soul in Hollywood. I think it's really rare that you can actually be a good person, because you're in this bubble. And when you're in this bubble, you're so out of touch with the common everyday existence of people. You are unrelatable except to other celebrities. You are super out of touch. And we've seen this time and time again. We've even talked about this in a previous episode when the pandemic happened and all these celebrities got together to sing John Lennon's Imagine. And we were like, are you kidding me right now? So it sucks, because a lot of the times you do come to sort of admire the art that these people produce, and it kind of gets soured when you find out, I just want to consume your art, I don't want to know you.
And then unfortunately, I think because of social media though, it's harder to do that than it used to be, because now we can't look away from what these people do, don't do, say, don't say. So it taints the art now, because I'm like,
it does.
I really wish I could still listen to your music because I really like it, but I'm annoyed by you as a person and a human being, so it's tainted for me now.
It's so true. If you know anything about, and I'm saying that to the listeners, if you know anything about Hollywood and old Hollywood, it didn't used to be like that. You could, as an actor, you would have interviews, but your whole life wasn't public knowledge. There was still some sort of mystery. But the more that we got into the allure of celebrity and wanting to know everything, what are they wearing, all of that, the more invasive we became into people's lives. And now it's not even a choice anymore. If you have a certain level of fame, doesn't matter if you want to be private or not, you will not get that from the general public, because now we live in a culture that they feel like they have a right to you. Paparazzi feel like they have a right to you to make money off of you. Fans feel like they have a right to you because they support you and they love your art and they love you. and they have this weird parasocial relationship with you. So unfortunately, whether we, like you said, whether we want to or not, we know a lot about these people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I would want to compromise my values to watch somebody's art while they're doing all of this horrible stuff behind the scenes. That's not what I'm saying. But because it does taint the art, whether it's music or movies or anything, visual art, it really whittles down your options to what you can actually consume. And that's the thing of how I feel like it's shifting, because you have all of these big movie stars going to Jeff Bezos' wedding. And the biggest one for me that was just like the most comedic was Leonardo DiCaprio, because he literally thought that by pulling down his baseball cap that we wouldn't know it was him. Bitch, please.
Which is hilarious, because subconsciously I'm going, if you feel you have to do that, what does that say?
Exactly.
If you're not doing anything wrong, if your actions are not favorable in any way, why hide?
Because one, this person is not ethical. This extravagant waste of resources that could be used to pay your workers a living wage, to ensure safety in your workplaces, all of this, because the stories I've heard about Amazon and working for Amazon are more horrific than I could have even imagined. Them needing to install nets in their warehouses so people don't jump off of, these are multi-story. Yeah, these are the stress that this job puts on people. And now they're replacing people with robots. So let me work you to death and then replace
Screw you over, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is not an ethical man. There is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. I would even venture to say that there might not be such thing as an ethical millionaire. In the way that you get your money, there's always something that is not entirely ethical. That's another story for another day. But what really got me is I'm like, this bitch quotes himself as being such an environmentalist. We need to save the earth, the climate change. How many private jets were used for this wedding? How did you get there to this wedding? Because I'm pretty sure that he sent private jets for all of his guests. And the fact that you couldn't stand on business about, I care about the environment and I don't think that this is ethical. All the other stuff about him being a terrible person and treating his employees terribly, I don't know where you stand on that, but I do know that you tote being such a huge conservationist and such a huge climate change advocate. So on that, at least, I can say, you really don't stand on shit, because you got on a private jet, which causes tons of pollution, and you went to this wedding and you could have just said no. You could have just said, no, I'm not going to go, but you didn't. And then you thought that covering your face was going to do something. So now every day finding out something, I'm just like, it's very hard to go to the movies anymore. It's very hard to watch television shows anymore, because you're like, somewhere in that cast is someone that
you're turned off by, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like a lot of people are turning more towards indie stuff. Indie movies, YouTube, things like that. I told you this the other day, me and my husband, we watched Dropout TV. We love the fact that it's funny, but these people show who they are and they show what they stand for, and they're not afraid to speak out, which that's another thing that we're finding a lot amongst the elite celebrity class, is that they're just it's completely silent on everything that's going on. And so I get to enjoy their content. I get to laugh my ass off, and I get to enjoy these people who are taking a stand against what is going on. They're actually speaking out about it. And it feels good. Like, I don't have to feel icky.
Yeah. Question. So then for those listening, in what way do you believe art is in crisis?
Oh, so that separate topic. Not separate, but that's another part of it. In that way. Because I don't really know how many people feel this way, but I do know that a lot of people feel burnt out on celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it just depends on how burned out people feel and if they're willing to take a stand. Because from what I've seen, because I am more plugged into social media right now, from what I've seen on apps like Threads, people are like, I am done with this celebrity. I am not engaging with their content anymore. So Hollywood could potentially have a problem on their hands, and we may see more indie art, which I am all about. Like, these smaller artists need our support.
Yes.
They need our viewership. They need our readership.
Yep.
They need people consuming their art. So I'm okay with if there's a shift from mainstream art to indie art.
And if you really think about it, think back in history, all the times. I mean, you mentioned, was it World War II?
Mm-hmm.
It even happened during every war, pretty much in history. There was always those artists that band together and chose to make statements about the injustices and what was happening to the people, showing the reality of what the people were going through. Because obviously, in every time of history, whatever source of news was being put out to the world of the issues going on and the wars, it was always propaganda. It was always what the powerful, the elite, the ones in charge wanted people to see. And so a lot of artists took their rebellion to their art so that people could see what was actually happening. And this has been a trend that has always happened. I mean, the rise of the Renaissance era, whenever a people group, especially be it a country, be it a whole continent, are going through massive crumbling of their systems.
Yeah.
That is really when people, like you said, they're turning to art for the sake of escapism.
Yeah.
Because being within the doom and gloom reality 24/7 would kill anyone, first mentally and some physically. And so it was always an opportune moment for creators to arise and give people something to feed their souls again, to give them hope, to give them clarity, understanding. There were so many different variables that artists took hold of. And so right now, I would say, because of what we're going through in our country, and obviously people, they've had enough. Because Sydney Sweeney, again, as an example, they didn't let that go by. They immediately were like, no, we're not going to let you breeze by with what you just did. We're not dumb. We're paying attention. We see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I am happy art is in crisis right now. Mainstream art, like you said, because I feel like we could be on the brink of some revolutionary shift where we have, like you said, the indie artists, creators are gonna have their day to rise up because people are craving authenticity and people are craving knowing who stands on the right side of history, because we're tired of those who don't trying to take center stage of our lives right now.
Yeah, I was telling this to my husband the other day about being socially conscious. I think that, people want to know where you stand, and people want you to use your privilege and your platform and to be vocal and not to carry on business as usual, because it's impossible for so many people in the sort of civilian sector of life to do that. Like, it's really difficult for us to carry on business as usual. It's a mode of survival at this point of like, we have to. But when you know that so much is going on, families are being ripped apart, people are scared, for someone with so much money and so much privilege to just be like, nah, I'm just going to continue doing my projects, and I'm just going to do my creative thing, and the arrogance of being like, I'll be fine. Well, you'll be fine. But I think that we all have a responsibility to each other, because I can already hear people being like, well, it's not celebrity responsibility. No, this is a human being. We all have a responsibility to our fellow human beings to do what is right and to stand up for what is right, regardless of your occupation, because you are first a human before you are whatever you are after that.
And here's the thing, and this is the part that sometimes I'm like rattled by. We are not in normal times, and I get things are so consistently and progressively bad that we're almost already getting desensitized to it. 8 months straight of it will desensitize you for survival purposes. Your brain is trying to protect you. But we need to be shaken and reminded this isn't like any time in our current history. This isn't 1992 with Clinton. Where do you stand? Did he do something wrong or not?
Yeah.
This is different. We are in a time where our entire system is crumbling. Every safety precaution is falling apart. The law isn't the law anymore. Our constitution is being ignored. Women are being left to die in hospitals. People are doing hunger strikes in detention facilities because they're trying to desperately shake what is the injustice that happen. This is, guys, this is a time of, this isn't a differing of opinions. This is clear, right and wrong. This is like the time of Germany, where when that was happening, that wasn't a time to be like, well, we don't really agree, but that's okay, business as usual. No, millions of people were dying nonsensically, and like, this is different. This is not just business as usual. Our lives are at stake. The state of this country is being completely obliterated. Everything we've known, every foundation we've stood on is also falling apart. So this is not, well, if celebrities don't owe us anything. Like Heather said, there are no labels. We are human beings, and there is a clear right or wrong happening right now. And at this point, yes, this isn't 2016. This is now, and it is that extreme. Do you stand on the right side of history or you don't? Black or white? There is no if, ands, or buts.
Yes.
Period. So
it is right, very black and white.
So right now is not the time to try to dissect with a fine-tuned comb where your celebrities stand on. No, it's a very clear, are you here or are you here? Yeah. Period. And so we are calling it out, and we're not accepting anything less. So every celebrity should be clearly, at least, if not by their actions should speak volumes. And if you are attending weddings of billionaire conglomerates who clearly stand on the wrong side of history with those who are creating the wrongs, then you know where they stand. It's clear as day. Show me your friends and you'll tell me who you are. Yeah. That's always been a clear saying. And that is what celebrities are choosing to do with their actions. You don't have to go out and be a social justice advocate. That's not everyone's role in this life. And you've heard me speak about that. And that's okay. But your actions speak volumes. And who you choose to rub shoulders with will tell us who you are. Period. Sorry. I had a little rant. No, I hate the argument on social media that the people are treating this like this is just us having a debate, like debate team. No. This is so much more extreme right now. This is not.
Well, this is literally the definition of unprecedented times in history. Like, we're living in them. I feel like people who say things like, well, they don't know us anything or they don't know anyone anything. Oh, so you're the type of person that if you see somebody being harassed in public, you're just going to walk by and not intervene or do anything to help. Like, you're saying more about yourself than you are about these celebrities who don't know you and would literally walk over your dead body. You're saying more about you than you are saying about them because you think it's okay for anybody. I don't think it's okay for anybody. I'm not just talking about celebrities. I'm talking about human beings. Yep. I don't think it's okay to co-sign this. I don't think it's okay to rub shoulders with people who are co-signing this or who are participating in it. I don't think it's okay to stay quiet. You have a responsibility as a human being to speak up and say something. And if you have power and you have privilege and you have money and resources that other people don't have, I'm sorry, but the responsibility is doubled because you can do things that other people cannot do. And if we are going to hold politicians accountable, we should also hold, because art is powerful. People have literally been killed and have literally been jailed for art.
Yes.
Because art can be political, because art can change hearts, it can change minds, it can shift things. And let me tell you, we do need to start boycotting these celebrities. I'm just going to say it, because the only reason that they are in the position that they are in is because we give them our hard-earned money to go watch their movie, to buy their album, to consume their art. That is why they are where they are, because they bring in numbers for these studios, and the studios are the ones that are paying them. So yes, I am all about art being in crisis, because right now the kind of art we need, yes, we need stuff that allows for an escape, but we also need revolutionary art. We need art that says something. We need art that speaks to what is happening right now.
South Park, that is art. Rebellion.
Thank you.
They are literally doing that.
I can't believe I am celebrating South Park.
I know, for real. For real. Never in my lifetime would I have foreseen this. Me going, heck yes!
It's not my bread and butter, but you know what? I am going to be watching what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
That is...
Art is power.
It is. And the fact that people have been put in jail for their art, for their music, the fact that people have been killed because their art, it was empowering change to happen. It was changing the hearts of the people. And we outnumber the people who are in positions of power. We outnumber the millionaires and billionaires in this country. I want people to understand the ability, the power and the control that we do have, because a lot of the times people are just like, well, we can't do anything. And I'm like, maybe not on an individual basis, but collectively. And I'm not talking to the people who don't care. And I'm not talking to the people who are on the wrong side of history. I'm talking to the ones who are on the right side of history, because I do believe that there are enough of them to affect change. So if it just takes, like, I don't remember exactly what the percentage is, so please forgive me, but somewhere between 1% to 3% of the population to rebel and to affect change, and that's all that we need. I saw those numbers on No King's Day when the protests were happening, like we did with Target, like we've done with other businesses who have felt the ache of us not giving our hard-earned dollars to those businesses. We need to do that with everybody.
Yeah.
We need to draw the line in the sand. Like you said, it is very black and white, and promote art that is making a difference and promote art that is on the right side of history. It doesn't have to necessarily be political in nature, but the people creating the art need to be on the right side of history.
Yes, that.
And obviously it would benefit if the art did have a message. Because look at, like you said, the South Park creators. That has a message. I'm sure there are people who grew up on South Park who are watching and going, this is different.
Well, you know what's the funny thing? Yeah. Ironically, growing up, the main viewership of South Park were the conservative bros.
Oh, yeah.
So it's still funny. Yeah, so that is hilarious that right now they're probably pissed as hell because they're going, you're not supposed to be on this side. And they've always been on that side.
It's true. It's kind of the same thing that when we hear stuff about, like, Superman, for example.
Oh my.
About whether or not Superman is woke. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and then have you never read a comic book?
No, and then what's pissing me off are the actual celebrities who have played Superman in the past coming out on the opposite
side. Yeah,
I'm like,
but that just goes to show you again that just because somebody plays a character who has integrity does not mean that they themselves have integrity or they agree that it's just a character to them.
It's just a job. It's just a job. And that's the thing, because that's also a wake-up call that I think is happening. Because it's so easy to fall. Here's the thing. 9 out of 10 times when we admire a celebrity we saw in something, it's the character they played we loved. And we have created this persona about this person based off a character they acted as that had nothing to do with who they are as a person, personality wise, nothing. But we almost don't realize we're doing it, and we don't make that distinction. So many times I remember in the past, like, swooning over an actor, but it wasn't the actor. It was the character, the part that they played, that they just brought to life physically.
Yeah.
And so it almost tricks your mind to think, I'm admiring this actor. No, you're not. You liked the character they played, not them.
Yep. As an adult that knows better now, I've had many instances where I have fallen in love with a character on the screen and wanted nothing at all to do with the celebrity, because I'm like, it's the character. I know it's the character because it's the character in the movie that's making me feel things. And then as a reality check, seeing this actor in an interview and going, oh no. Like, I don't know. You're nothing like this character. Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about putting this person on blast because they were domestic abusers, but like, I remember I had the biggest crush on Alex Pettyfer.
Oh, yeah.
And when I then find out that he abused his girlfriend's wife, I don't remember if they were actually married. And then not just that, I previous to that there was already sprinklings, because here I am swooning over this character. I won't even say I was swooning over the actor. I was swooning over the actor's looks, but then connecting them to the characters they were playing. And then I saw them in an interview. They were saying the most shallow remarks that gave me the greatest ick. And suddenly that broke the spell. And that was one of my main first times suddenly going, oh, I was swooning over this man's looks combined with the character they were playing. But him as a person, and then I couldn't watch him again after that because I was just so grossed out by who he was as a person. And I realized they're not the same things.
No, they're not. And honestly, I've noticed that with a lot of really attractive people who are models, celebrities of some kind, whether acting or musicians or singers, oh man, it's a lot of opening up mouths and just, I'm like, oh, you're just a pretty face. At this point, I'm like, yeah, it's not all, you know.
No, of course.
But and maybe it's a little that syndrome of like, I've always been really attractive, so I never developed a personality kind of thing. But who knows what the situation is. But I do feel like right now where we're at, a lot of things that were previously tolerated are not being tolerated anymore. A lot of eyes are being opened to the more subtleties of how we are being influenced by the media that we take in. And we want to, obviously, if you are on the right side of history, if you stand with other human beings, you want to take in art that promotes that. When I went to go see Superman, I felt so, because I'll be honest, I was indifferent. I don't really like the character Superman, sorry, but he's very unrelatable. And any extremely do-gooder type of character like Captain America and Superman, I find it hard to believe, and I find them to be a little self-righteous sometimes, the way that they're portrayed. And
see, I'm the opposite, because I grew up very do-gooder myself, so I think for me, he was one of my favorites growing up, and my brothers, so we would watch
Superman.
We loved Superman.
Oh, I think it's too, like, I'll use Captain America as an example. Now we're just nerding out, but like, I think it's that the way that he was portrayed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not so much the comic books, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't like the fact that he portrayed himself as having an infallible moral compass, and that he made decisions that he felt were right and then judged other people for doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of self-righteous, not the kind where you back up the things that you say. That's what was different about this Superman for me. When I saw this movie, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so he's kind of goofy and relatable, and he's not like just I'm Superman, you know what I mean? Like, and mind you, I got into comic books later, so I think that's also a part of why I never really got into Superman before, because I didn't read any of the comics before. But knowing that he was a little bit more down to earth, because this is like one of the most powerful superheroes in all of the DC universe. So when you have it at that level, and what makes other characters in the DC universe like Batman, even though he's a billionaire, that's a problem, more relatable, is that they are flawed and we can relate to flaws. But Superman is always portrayed as being perfection.
Well, in the older movies, because if you were fans of the TV shows, which I saw like almost all the different variations of them, obviously a TV show runs multiple seasons, so he's more human. You're not seeing just this cardboard copy of a human being perfect all the time. You saw his flaws, his struggles between his alien side and his earthling side now. And so it was different if you like grew up also watching not just the movies, but the TV shows.
I did watch Smallville.
I love Smallville.
And I did love Smallville. Here's the thing though. I'm kind of critical because, I mean, we grew up watching movies and critiquing them, and we, you know, and not in a too serious type of way. And it's something that I still do now with my husband. We'll go watch a movie and we'll talk about it afterward. What we liked, what we didn't like. I find that when superheroes have a dual nature, sometimes the actor that plays them will be really good at playing one aspect of the character and not create enough of a distinction between that persona and this persona. What I loved about Smallville is that I loved him as Clark, but as Superman, I could care less. And it's understandable because we watched him so much as Clark. We watched him grow up in that show. And so I thought that, you know, he did really well as Clark, and we got to see him grow into his role as Superman. With this one, because it was an already established that he was Superman at this time, and because they added so much humor to it, which I think allowed it to be more human.
Did you not watch Man of Steel with Henry Cavill?
Oh yeah,
because he also had some emotional moments when he lost his father. When he was struggling in the beginning because he was trying to hide out from the world, and he gave up being Superman and stuff. I thought he did a great job.
It was different. It was a darker Superman
than
what I'm used to, but also, I mean, and aside from Henry Cavill's supposed problematic behavior, we're not talking about that with women.
I didn't even know about that, but okay.
Yeah.
Separately,
yeah. But aside from that, I mean, look at that face.
I mean, no, he's a gorgeous specimen. Yeah.
Yeah. It again, it's hard to believe that somebody that looks like that and has those powers is it's about relatability. It's more, it's not that I didn't think that he didn't do a good job as an actor. I think it's just that character in general has always been really difficult for me to relate to until this movie.
Okay.
Because he was a little bit goofier, and because he had all these moments of levity where he really showed his humanity. And that's kind of what the whole point of the movie was, is that, yes. Oh, okay. So I won't spoil it for you, but yes, he's an alien. Yes, he is unlike humans, but he loves humans and he loves to serve humans and he loves what he does. And he kind of has more humanity than some humans do, like Lex Luthor. And this movie really played that up in a way, because I don't want to say it has anything to do with the actor. I think it has to do with the script. I think it has to do with the director. I think the actor brought it to life.
Yeah.
But there's a whole team of people.
Absolutely.
James Gunn, beautiful job. I mean, he revived DC with this movie. But
nice.
I really, this is not a spoiler by any means, but there was one scene where he's trying to protect people from this threat, and he literally saved a squirrel. And it was so cute and so lighthearted. And that's what I really liked about it, because his do-gooderness in this movie wasn't thrown in your face. He didn't come off as arrogant about it, or of like, I can make this decision because I am Superman and you cannot make the same decision. Because that was my issue with Captain America. We're way off topic here, but
we really are.
We'll bring it back. But that was my issue with Captain America, that in The Winter Soldier, he decided to defend Bucky, who had killed Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man's parents. But if Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Tony Stark, made a decision that Captain America did not deem to be moral, he would judge him and try to stop him. And that's where I'm like, okay, so you preach to all these people about doing the right thing, and then here you are doing the wrong thing, but because you have your own reasons for it. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, with these characters, that's why I like more flawed characters, because they own their flaws. Whereas when you have this, like, I'm Captain America, I do everything righteous and good. And then you see how he makes this really horrible decision. I mean, yes, he loves his friend. He's conflicted. But it's the way that he judges other people for their decisions and not understanding their reasonings for doing what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, in my head, I'm already going through a whole other episode idea about just if we really broke down the issues with superheroes and the ideals of them. But that can be something we'll talk about.
I love that idea, though. But all that to say is that movie stirred up a lot of controversy. A lot of people were like, oh, they made Superman woke. No.
In what way?
But see, let's bring it back to South Park. The people who always grew up watching South Park that just liked it for the fact that it was controversial, for the fact that it pushed buttons, but the message just went right over their heads.
Yep.
And then now, when the message is about you, essentially, and the side of history that you're choosing to stand on, then all of a sudden the message is the problem. But this has always been the message. It's just that it was not directed at you before, and you just weren't paying attention to it. What I realized, because I've often thought, like, how can people watch this and not understand what the meaning is behind it? Not understand the satire or not understand the message. It's because what they get out of it is different. Yes. They're not looking for a message to change their mind, their heart.
No, they're like, her, fart, dick joke, funny, bros.
Entertainment.
Very much bro, like, entertainment to a satirical nature. Yeah. And that's all they like. They weren't trying to find the hidden meaning to things.
Not at all. And that is why it is now, when it's directed at you and your belief system, that it is now suddenly a problem, and that, us woke liberals, we changed it. And it's like,
again, that word does not mean what you think it means. You keep saying that word, but it doesn't mean what you think it means.
Princess right. It's so, and that's the thing too, like, look at how much we quote movies and how much we sing lyrics to songs. It penetrates. It's an earworm. It gets into your mind. It gets into your heart.
As a creative, it's what I've always been passionate about, because I know, as well as every other creative in the world, how powerful art is. Yes. It very much directs and influences every aspect of our lives.
Let me tell you something. Right now, a lot of people are talking about Hayley Williams from Paramore, because she came out with new songs, I think separate from Paramore, just on her own. And she is saying some things. She's saying the things that we want people like Taylor Swift to say. You can come for me all you fucking want. And a lot of people are like, okay, Hayley Williams.
Okay, I need to look that up later.
She saw a prime opportunity to speak on things that she finds to be important. It says a lot about her. It says a lot about where she stands and the type of person that she wants to be. And that is what we need to see more of. That is what we want to see more of. And so your art, for example, writing, your books might not have anything to do, they don't have anything to do with politically what's going on. They offer an escape for people. Yes. But you, as the artist, have made it very clear where you stand.
Yes.
And that's all that people are asking for.
Exactly. If I'm going to, like, and you've said it multiple times in this episode, if I'm going to consume art, I just want to know the person who created that art is a safe person. Period.
And it's not hard to ask for. We're not saying that we need you to be perfect, because I do think that we have a problem on the more progressive liberal side of expecting perfection from people.
Yes.
Huge problem.
Hence the possible episode of superheroes and the ideals we place on them.
I like that. That's not what I'm saying, at least. I don't want to hold people to an impossible standard.
Exactly. We shouldn't.
No, because we ourselves are very flawed. We make mistakes. It's about learning from those mistakes. It's about being better from those things. And yes, to a degree, it is about the mistake itself, because let's be honest, some are bigger than others.
Yes.
If I accidentally use the wrong pronoun when I'm talking to you, that is a mistake, but it's a mistake that is easily fixed. Way different than, harassing someone. That's kind of the thing that I'm talking about here. But all that to say is, like, yes, that is all that we're really wanting. And we're wanting more stuff like South Park to rise up and take a stance, like Superman, because James Gunn made a very conscious decision to change part of the quote that is related to Superman from truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and the human way. Because we have a real problem in this country with seeing other people as being human beings that are worthy of dignity, they're worthy of respect, they're worthy of life. And so that was a very specific choice that he made, and a lot of people did not like that. They thought it was very un-American, but it sent a message, the message that it needed to, that where he stands and that he is a safe space for people who are on the right side of history. Now, granted, James Gunn has his own history in the past. That supposedly he has learned from, supposedly he has grown from. I'm not like a fan of him as a person, but I am a fan. I don't know him like that, exactly. Yeah. But I am a fan of the art that he created and the message that he sent through this movie, especially in this time in history where messages like that are super integral and are much needed to encourage our hearts. And, when we were Christians, we were very specific about the things that we consumed and the things that we let come into us, because we believed at that time that it sticks with you. It becomes part of your spirit. I still believe that too.
In part, it does. Exactly.
It does.
Yes.
It has an influence over you, and it has an influence over your mind and over your heart and over the decisions that you make. Yep. So I want to consume things that are going to be in alignment with who I am as a person, to further push me to be a better person. I don't want to consume things that are going to breed isms or phobias like racism or homophobia or xenophobia or transphobia. I don't need content that pushes that agenda. I want to consume content that pushes me to be a better person, to be kinder, to be more giving, more loving, more compassionate, more empathetic. And I don't give a shit if it's woke, and I don't give a shit if it's considered toxic empathy. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. That is who I want to be. That is who I'd rather be, regardless of anything else. So I'm hoping that there is a shift, that enough people will take a stand, and that Hollywood will hear that, and all of these companies too, because as a parallel to the Sydney Sweeney thing, a lot of people were posting about this Ralph Lauren campaign where everybody in the campaign was a person of color, and how they celebrated Blackness and how they celebrated Black culture, not as something that is seen as ghetto or impoverished, but they celebrated as something that is beautiful, regal, elegant, because that is the truth. And so that was like sort of the parallel between the Sydney Sweeney thing. We're seeing, separation here of like, who's this and who's this?
It's that black and white right now. There's no debate you can try to give right now to say otherwise, because that is not our current reality. Our current reality is very much, where do you stand? It's here or here. That's it. There are no in-betweens. at all right now. Not in this current state of this nation. No.
Yes. And when we need this to escape into, and when we need this to encourage our hearts, because we're in a time when we need a lot of encouragement to just get up in the morning.
For freaking real.
Art can do that. Art is so powerful. It's powerful enough that things like book bans exist. It's powerful enough that people's TikToks and other social medias are being taken down because of the things that they're saying or the things that they're promoting. So all that to say is that, yes, we are in a crisis in this country.
Here's to art being in crisis. Cheers.
And to seeking art out in crisis, because we as a country are also in crisis.
Absolutely.
I am all for that. So for our listeners and for people who are viewing this on YouTube, first of all, we just want to say thank you so much. We cannot express how much we just appreciate any of our listeners and viewers. But we want to hear from you.
Yes.
We want to hear what you think about this topic. Are you feeling that shift too of seeking out art that is more edifying and that is feeding the things that you want to feed within yourself, but also encouraging you and wanting to be revolutionary in your own way and within your capacity? And we would love to hear if there is any art out there that is doing that we haven't even mentioned, because I would love to see digital art, visual art, all of that. If you have an artist that you know that is doing things and is standing on the right side of history, just drop them in the comments on Threads, on Instagram, TikTok specifically, YouTube, or any of the podcast platforms. We want to be promoting these artists, but we also want to know about them so that we can go and find their art and promote them as well. So with that being said,
all right, friends, make sure while you're on any of those platforms that you like and subscribe and follow. I mean, you're there, so why not, right? And do all those lovely things. And then on specifically podcast platforms, if you can do us a huge favor and leave us a review the episodes, review the podcast show as a whole, that really helps the algorithm steer us towards those who would enjoy our contact with you, and we can gain new friends. So please, by all means, if you could do that, we would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And
yes.
A shout out to Dolores Medill, because she is one of the people that has been going and reviewing individual episodes. We love you. We thank you so much for doing that. Yes. And we want to give shout outs to more people. So definitely review.
Thank you, friends, so much for letting us passionately discuss this episode today. Even with our little rabbit holes, you know we always bring it back around town. So until next week, friends, bye.
Bye.